Hello, everyone, wherever you might be watching me from. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. I remain Chigozie, the anchor of Inquest TV. On this edition of the Evening Political Rumbles, you're once again welcome. Yes, today we are to discuss about pertinent issues that borders across, of course, the political, social, and religious interests as far as it has to do with this country and across the sub-African regions. Yes, the latest in this discussion, of course, is, of course, the trending video of a lady by name Miss Deborah Yakubu that was lynched by a group of Islamic mobs yesterday at Sokoto at Federal College of Education, Sokoto State. She was alleged of blasphemy for profaning, of course, the Islamic tenet of faith, which, of course, is subject to argument and rationality. Could such thing be happening or be allowed to happen in this 21st century? It's very unfortunate that, well, this is not the first time in history, of course, of Nigeria where such things, we have series of cases that also has to do with religious fanaticism, and which unfortunately has remained an issue of national concern, and which most of our political and religious leaders have been paying lip service to. It has remained unaddressed. That's why, of course, the incessant killing of the supposed citizens under the disguise of blasphemy, religious blasphemy, has persisted unabated. Now is the case of is the turn of Miss Deborah Yakubu Samuel. Could there be any justification for such to happen? Even in this 21st century, I was surprised that just outside the gate of the institution, this lady was murdered. Where are the security men? Where are the security operatives attached to that institution? Because I know for sure that every institution of such caliber should, of course, have security drafts or personnel attached to it. Why is it that we are complacent and indifferent about this, the plight of this young lady, and would not, dash into, of course, rescue the life of this young lad? It's very unfortunate that this is happening in a moment where, of course, there are religious and ethnic divide, where the politics is already overheated, and of course, there's so many things happening within the Nigerian sphere, which, of course, have stretched the unity or the supposed unity of Nigerian state. And with this, of course, fuel the already tense situation. It's very unfortunate that this young lady could be a victim of those zealous Islamic sect and unguided, unprincipled men who are unfortunately constitute a nuisance to humanity under the disguise of religion. It's very unfortunate that this is happening, but what matters most is, could this be an end to this Could an end be put to this barbaric, unacceptable, and primitive thoughts or way of reasoning on the parts of course, most of the Islamic fanatics? I've not seen any time in the history of Nigeria where people were linked by blaspheming, of course, Jesus. But that is not the case in this situation. The girl expressed her religious, of course, rights of expression, which is, of course, enshrined within the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that individuals has the right, and this is a secular country, or a secular country to say, but in real practice, I think the state itself has diverted from the principle of justice and fairness, which is presumed to have established this country. And if that is done, what next could be done? If the interests and the rights of the citizens could no longer be protected, the right to expression, the right to religious or political affiliations have been threatened. Just like the case of this young, promising, beautiful lady, of course, that came from a family, of course, relatives, which has been thrown into mourning and has brought so many pain and despair to the family of the deceased, who sent their child to acquire Western education to better, of course, her own life and the life of everyone around her, just ended up that way. And what is exactly the fundamental issue? The worst thing about this video is that I cited some ladies with their jihad or whatever, hitting the lady, their fellow lady, under the disguise of Islamic fanaticism. Ladies, we are part of those that executed your own fellow lady. They don't have human sympathy, empathy for their fellow woman that was stoned to death. It's very unfortunate. It's very appalling. Of course, that leaves me with no other thought that these people has been driven mad by this Islamic sentiments. How could you in any way take the life you cannot produce, you do not create? Even Muhammad has no right to take the life of people. So if you claim you are protecting the interests of Muhammad, which of course I know you are not, and it is, as much as I know, of course, it's not part of Islamic tenet of faith. Why is it that tolerance becomes absent when it comes to issue of religion, especially as it borders, well, of course, within the northern hemisphere? Why is it that they are so driven by such level of rascality and fanaticism, that they first felt to place human life as priority over religion? By the way, before the birth of Muhammad, does it mean that people have not been do not have access to God? Is it Muhammad was born about after 500 and something years before Christ, or 1000? I can't exactly get the right citation, but the reality is that before the birth of Muhammad, people has a way of connecting to God. So why should, of course, the ideology of Muhammad be imposed on everybody, become something that makes people run mad and can take life in the name of Muhammad? Mind you, these people, the northern region, have been agog. The Islamic jihadists, the banditry has been ravaging the entire north, and they have not called on Muhammad to come and rescue them. under the same disguise of religion. That's why it's radicalism and the terrorism is thriving. It's very unfortunate. We must call a spade, and I believe that the Christian community should not treat this with a kid glove, and they must ensure that, of course, justice is served to the deceased sister, and not just the Christian communities. The Muslim, of course, most of the Muslims are speaking out, condemning this barbaric and uncultured acts. Of course, it is about humanity first. Every lover of peace and humanity should, of course, lend their voice against this criminality, against this wickedness and inhumane to humanity, to the existence of humanity. It's very unfortunate that even those within the College of Education could think so abysmal, so primitive. So as such, I thought the level of exposure or education would have given them a better understanding on how to live and cohabit among, of course, fellow citizens or even strangers, without, of course, having to take their life or pose anything that can threaten their existence. You see, this lady was killed in such gruesome and barbaric manner, and I saw people citing or rehearsing Allahu Akbar under the name of who? The name of God Almighty, who said that true religion and undefiled, perfect religion is to take care of the orphans, the downtrodden, is to plead for mercy on behalf of those who are subjugated, is to extend arms and mercy to those who are vulnerable. But do you see that in this case? Rather, you decide to take a life you cannot give, a life that is created by God Almighty. You have no right, even it contravenes the position of the Constitution, which you are not taking law into your hands without any justifiable reason. Why not allow Muhammad or Jesus, if of course in this case is about Muhammad and the Islamic religion? Why not allow Muhammad? Of course, if you think is a blasphemy, what kind of blasphemy is that? That somebody has no right to express his belief, has no right to call Jesus his Lord, that Jesus is the source of his success or her success? Man, this is very unfortunate, and unfortunately, if this issue is not addressed, I mean, at end we may not see an end to such or likely incidents in the nearest future. So every mankind, every lover of humanity must lend his or her voice against this. And the families, I think most of the problem started from the family, where they were encouraged, indoctrinated to see other, of course, people who don't agree with them, who don't align with their own ideology, religious ideology, as fanatics, as infidels. It is very unfortunate. I mean, the Islamic clerics should preach more of tolerance and, of course, coexistence among one another. That is the only way to place priority. We are where we are as a country because of these detrimental factors that have destroyed the fabric of existence. Not until justice is served, there can never be true peace. And we cannot build a federation, we cannot build a country where people will be happy to identify with, where, of course, there will be liberty for all to express his or her political or religious or aspiration, as that the case might be. It's very unfortunate, and I must lend my voice against this barbaric killing. Until we meet some other time, Remain blessed and don't be a victim. Don't contribute to this level of cruelty, perverting the entire system. It's very unfortunate that even the ladies could stone their fellow women to death in the pool of blood. What a heartless generation. Very unfortunate. Remain blessed until we see some other time.